If you feel like your child's behavior gets worse every time you try to set a boundary, this video is for you. Because what looks like defiance is often confusion caused by inconsistency. We have talked about why boundaries matter and how to communicate them. Today, we're talking about what happens when boundaries are unclear, inconsistent, or emotionally reactive, and why that leads to escalation, not cooperation. If you're just joining now, I recommend watching weeks 1 and 2 first. They'll help this make sense. And my voice would sound a little better then. I'm still struggling with the cold. But let's move on. Many parents believe that when a child keeps pushing a boundary, it's because the child is being smart, manipulative, or intentionally disrespectful. But what's often happening is something much simpler, a much more human. Children get confused when boundaries move. When parents soften, delay, or abandon a boundary they have already set, especially in moments of fatigue, guilt, or pressure, the child doesn't experience relief. They experience uncertainty. For example, if a limit is no screen time for a certain hour, but the rules change depending on mood, stress, or how persistent the child is, the message becomes unclear. Leniency feels kind to the adult in the moment, but confusion feels unsafe to the child. This is important, especially for parents of older children and teens. A 17-year-old may look mature. They may speak confidently. They may argue logically. But developmentally, they are not an adult. The part of the brain responsible for impulse control, emotional regulation, and long term reasoning is still developing well into the mid 20s. So when parents would say they should know better or they're too old for this behavior, what they're really doing is expecting adult regulation from a developing nervous system. Let me ask you something, and you don't need to answer out loud. When your child pushes a boundary, are you responding to the age they look like or the developmental support they need? When children, whether 4 or 17, keeps pushing a boundary, they are not asking, can I get away with this? They are asking, is this limit still real when emotions are high? Testing boundaries is not a sign of advanced thinking. It's a sign of developmental learning. When boundaries shift, children don't think my parent changed their mind. No, they think I need to test again tomorrow. This is how inconsistency teaches persistence instead of self-control. So when behavior escalates, it's rarely because a child is becoming defiant. It's because the environment has become less predictable. I hope you're getting me. Inconsistency doesn't always look obvious. Sometimes it sounds like, not today, I'm too tired. Just this once. Or, fine, but don't do it again. A boundary that exists on Monday but disappears on Thursday teaches the child that persistence, not regulation, gets results. From a child's perspective, whether they are 4 or 17, inconsistency feels unsafe. They are not thinking I'm winning. They are thinking I don't know what to expect. When children don't know what's expected, their nervous system stays on alert, and alert systems don't regulate well. Escalation is not about power. Escalation is about uncertainty. So when a child learns that louder emotions sometimes erase limits, they will naturally get louder the next time. This is how yelling, bargaining, or meltdowns become learned strategies. Not because the child is manipulative, but because the system rewards escalation. A power struggle is what happens when the child is deregulated, the adult becomes emotionally reactive, and the boundary becomes personal. Power struggles are not about our wins, mommy or daddy. They're about who stays regulated, who stays calm, who stays in control. When boundaries feel emotional, children learn to respond emotionally. Let me ask you this, and I want honesty in the comments. Have you noticed your child's behavior escalate after a boundary changes or disappears? This is not to blame yourself, but to bring awareness. Next week, we're going to talk about how to repair inconsistency, how to reintroduce boundaries without guilt, and how to guide behavior without shame. Because consistency isn't about perfection, it's about repair. So if you want support navigating boundaries with clarity and confidence, you can work with me through my parenting coach and behavioral specialist practice. And don't forget to download your free copy of the ABCs of Parenting. We are using it all month.